Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anil and this is the Angular reactive form validation video part 2, because in the first part we learned how we can just make a simple form and how we just provide a very simple validation, and we will extend the second video only. If you did not watch our previous video, I'm just going to recommend you then you can watch our previous video. First link is given in the description box. Otherwise, if you don't want to watch, then don't worry, I will just revise the previous video also. Alright, so then we will see that how we can apply the email validation, min max validation, regex validation, and how we can disable this button if some input validation is failed. Alright, so now let's check. So first of all, let's revise the previous video. In the previous video, first of all, we just go on the app.module.ts, and we just apply the reactive form module and import it inside the import array. Alright, then we just make a very simple form. On the form we just do the two things. One is we define the form name like this, and we put the form controller name like this. Alright, and after that we come in the app.component.ts file. From here we import the form controller, form group, and validator. Alright, and then we just make a form group like this, and we apply a required validation on email, which is working fine. How it's working now, you can see that if I'm just going to get outside and the form is empty, then it will just show me the error, the field is required, email is required. If I'm just going to put something and just come out, then it will just show me everything is fine. Alright, and we just show this line by putting the condition on here, like email.invalid and invalid.touched, then email is required. Alright, and which is coming basically from the here, this email function is working here as a property. Perfect. So now let's come back and see more things. So first thing is that how we can apply the email validation. Alright, so for that, this is very simple part. You can just simply change it, the email is required, and make it array here, and you can just simply write here validator dot email. Alright, and here you can just check out here, email is required, email is not valid, or you can just put here email is invalid. Right, okay, so now let's come to here and let's check. If I'm just going to put here 1 2 3 and click outside, then it will show me email is invalid. So I can just put here test@test.com, then this is working fine. If I'm just going to put here some unwanted characters, then it will tell me again email is invalid. Alright, I hope you get that. Now let's make one more field so that we can apply the more validation. So let's just copy this complete part from here to here, and let's make it, the name is normal address. Alright, like this, and here I can just also change the names like address. Perfect, and after that I can just simply write here enter address, so that you can just see here placeholder. Perfect, so everything is fine. Yeah, one more thing, that we just have to define the controller with the name of email also, so, name with the address also. So just define here like address, and we can just remove the validations for a moment like this. Now let's try. There is no error in the console also, and everything is working fine. Perfect. So now let's come back here. So let's say address is, first of all, it's required, so just put here validator dot required. Then if we have to apply the more than one validation, then we have to use array, and let's say the minimum length of validation can be 3, so just put here validator dot min length is like 3. Alright, and now let's check here. But one more thing, we have to just define the get function also for the address. So let's copy it and make address function here, and it will just get the field from the address field. Alright, so now let's come here and we can just see here. Let's provide the address dot invalid and address dot touched. Alright, now let's see if I'm just going to enter address 1 and try to get outside. Okay, this is not showing error. Let me check what's wrong with it. Let's try to refresh it. Just make a hard refresh. Sometime just cache or something give some issues. If I'm just going to put here, yeah, that's working fine. If I just put here 3 characters, then it's working fine. On the 2 character, it give me the email is invalid, but the correct message is address is invalid. Alright, so this is also working fine now. So now let's define the max length also. So for defining the max length, we can just add here validator dot max length, and max length let's say can be 10. Yeah, so now let's see, is it working fine or not? Required is working, and if I'm just going to put here 1 2, then the error is still there. On a 3, this is working fine. Noida and something like that. If I'm just putting the characters more than 10, then it will say that the error is invalid. That's mean the max and min both are working fine. So now let's say how we can apply the pattern or regex here. So let's remove the min and max value for a moment, because otherwise the syntax will be gonna very long. So for the pattern, we have to use the property with the validator dot pattern, and in the pattern as a function, let's take a string, and in the string you can apply any regex. So let's say address will be only alphabetic value, there is no numeric value. Alright, so I can just simply write here small a to small z, small a to small z will be acceptable, then capital A to capital Z is also acceptable, and space is let's say also acceptable, and let's put a star here. Now let's check how it's working. If I'm just going to put here some numeric values like Noida, this is working fine. Space is also working fine. If I'm just going to put here 1 2 3, then this is invalid here. Now you can see that field is invalid. Alright, so now you can see that. So this is the way that how you can just invalidate the error field also. But how we can just disable this button? Alright, so first of all, let's try to submit this button with first of all we have to apply the event here. Alright, so let's make an event on a form like ng submit. Alright, and under submit, let's say we have a function with the name of on login. Alright, and let's get this on login form inside let's save it inside the controller, or you can say that the ts file, and just warn here, warn what we have to warn: login is not taking autofill. Why? Let's write here login form. Okay, so we have to use this dot login form, that's my bad, dot value. Alright, now let's see what we are getting here. So let's say I have an email with the test@123 .com, but address is still invalid and password is 123. I'm trying to submit. This is working fine, but it should not be submit because our address field is invalid. So how we can stop it? For that we can just do add a one property here with the disable button, and let's choose a property binding it with the form name, because our form is still invalid here, you can see that. Right, so just simply use here only single equal to, because we are assigning the value. So login dot invalid. Now let's see what we got here. At the initial moment you can see that this is the invalid. If I'm just going to put here test@test.com something like, then this is working fine. And let's say I just put here address with the Noida, which is correct. The submit button is enabled, and this is providing the values. And if I'm just going to put here like 123 and invalid some form, then this button is disabled and we cannot click on it. So this is the way that how we can simply put the validation on a reactive Angular form. If you still have any kind of confusion, you can ask me in the comment box. Don't forget to subscribe my channel and like this video. Bye bye, take care.